You're listening to Three Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, with experts and insiders on what you need to know in Northeast Ohio.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Three Things to Know podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Haney. Thank you so much for being here to hang out with me and chat about exciting things. We have a great guest for you today. She is a TikTok famous lady. You might already know her. You probably already know her, but I'm very excited for us to get to talk with her a little bit about her backstory and some of the things that she does so well, which is talk the celebrity goss. I am talking about Morgan Wright from Q104. She is a TikToker. You know her as Morgan P Talks on TikTok, also on Instagram, and she's got a podcast. It's called Morgan's Pop Talks. She is all up in the celebrity biz game, and she is a very big deal, my friends, on TikTok. She has about 135,000 followers. Her videos have been liked 7.5 million times. 7.5 million people. That's a lot of people, peeps. And she's also a very big deal on Instagram. She's got more than 42,000 followers, and it's the same name there. It's Morgan P Talks. She shares a lot of her TikToks on Instagram as well. You know, obviously, that's what people are doing these days. You make your TikTok and then you share it on Instagram. And she has really just taken what she does for a living and ran with it. And it really is testament to the fact that if you build it, they will come, because people are coming for Morgan P Talks. She is so great. I'm so excited for us to talk with her today. Let's not wait anymore. Let's bring her in right now.
Morgan, thank you for being here on the Three Things to Know podcast.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm excited.
Yeah, so excited to have you here. You know, when I saw our Austin Love, fabulous man that he is, do a piece about your TikTok, I was like, yes, we absolutely need to get Morgan on the podcast. You know, we had you in our list of influencers to follow for 2021. So we're so excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here with you as well.
And you've got lots of exciting things going on. You've got a new podcast out. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But first, I want to get let's set the stage a little. Let's get the backstory here. Tell everybody, in case they've been living under a rock and they don't know, what do you do at Q104 here in the area?
So I work on the morning show. I've been at Q for about 6 years now, and I have, worked every shift under the sun. I'm sure you can relate. In media, you're always shifting around. But for the past 3 years, I've been on the morning show there. I was the pop culture, expert on the show, which has led me into this next phase of my career in social media, which I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But yes, every single morning, live broadcast in downtown Cleveland, 6 a.m. till 10.
Bright and early. Better you than me, girl, because I am not a morning person. I'll tell you.
Hey, well, you know what? I don't have to be on TV, so I just roll out of bed. Most times I'm in my sweatpants and we're good to go.
I can appreciate that. I feel like that's tricky though, because somebody's always taking a behind the scenes video or something.
True.
I just don't know if I could trust it.
Very true.
Are you from here, by the way? You've been at Q, you said, for 6 years, but are you from the area?
Yeah, so I grew up in Perry on the east side. And then when I was in high school, my family moved to West Virginia. That's where I graduated school, went to college at Marshall. And then actually while I was there, my family moved back into the same house that we moved out of in Perry. So we were gone for a total of 8 years. And now my family is back in my childhood home.
That is wild. By the way, I'm also from Perry, but from the Perry that's down south in Canton. So that's funny. Okay, so tell me, from your Q104 journey, we'll just cut right to it. How did you end up on TikTok as Morgan P Talks?
Yeah, so the pandemic was really interesting for everybody. We had to rethink the way that we did our business. And, I was one of the first people on the morning show to actually go home. The majority of us did end up working from home. So I was broadcasting from home in my apartment here in Willoughby. And, I'm a young single girl. I was here by myself. I live alone. My boyfriend actually lives in London. We were not able to see each other, the majority of the pandemic. So I had a lot of extra time on my hands. And at first, when the pandemic depression really began for all of us, I just found myself watching a lot of TV, like the rest of us, but I was always watching reality shows. And that's just always what I would gravitate towards. I've always been a fan, of The Bachelor and Bravo, but I had just had all this extra time alone in my apartment. So I was watching it, for 5-6 hours a day. But I just remember there was one particular moment when, like I said before, my job on the morning show is to research and report pop culture news stories every single day. And I was just really looking for another creative outlet, not really thinking anything of it. I didn't start posting on TikTok thinking I'm going to become a TikToker. I'm going to, be a pop culture expert on the internet. That was never a thought that entered my mind. And I remember one day I just did a random TikTok about the housewives and rules that they had to follow that people might not have known about. And it blew up immediately. And I just kind of had like a light bulb moment, where I'm doing this every day for the morning show and it's what I love to do. It's how I fill my free time. Why not, try to make some more pop culture videos? And it kept growing and growing and growing. I mean, I never imagined that it would even grow at all. So when I saw that people were following and engaging with my content, once I started, I just never stopped. And that's kind of how I got to this Morgan P Talks brand, where now, we're on TikTok and Instagram. I have a podcast. I'm interviewing, Bravo celebrities. So I never in my wildest dreams would have expected that it would take me to a whole nother side of my broadcasting career, but it has.
I love the term Bravo celebrity, by the way. That's such a perfect, it's been around for a while. I do absolutely love it. So that was going to be one of my questions for you, is when did it start to take off? It was with that Real Housewives video for you. And I just have to say too, it really shines through when something is authentic like that. If you're a lover of reality TV, if you're a lover of those kinds of things and you want to share that with people, that really is what kind of like brings people in and gets them to engage. And you can see that in all of your videos. So I love watching them. I love getting your takes on it. For sure.
Thank you.
For sure. So now that things have, quieted down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you and your boyfriend are able to see each other now with him being in London. Do you feel like you're living online? How much time is this taking up for you?
Oh, it's taking up a lot of time, but I enjoy it. And yes, my boyfriend is here. He's actually in the other room. This is his second time that he's been in the United States since 2020. So we're very excited to have him. And luckily for me, he's the tech guru, so I'm like, I need a studio in my office and I need good soundproofing. And he's been able to hook me up with that. So thankfully he's here. No, I spend a lot of time, like I said, watching TV, posting things online. But the good thing about it is that it overlaps, with what I'm doing at Q. So I'm more or less, killing two birds with one stone. And it does take up a lot of time. It takes up a lot of mental, capacity, especially when let's face it, there's a million different shows out there.
Mm-hmm.
In the Real Housewives franchises alone, there's like 10 cities that you have to keep up with. And I'm just fortunate that with my, real job, my day job on Q104, that I can easily translate that over into what I'm doing online. And although it is work, they say when you find your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And I never believed that, I'm like, work is work. And even if you like it, it's still work, which is true. But I just enjoy it so much that it doesn't feel like work.
Mm-hmm. I recently had one of our bosses had said, I say they call it work for a reason. If it was supposed to be fun all the time, it would be called fun.
True.
I do think
true.
That's true. But obviously you're having a lot of fun with what you're doing. And hello to the boyfriend in the other room. Very glad that you guys are getting to spend some time together. Which is your most popular video to date? Do you know offhand?
Oh, well, I can look. And this is a good way that I actually keep track of my content on TikTok in particular. They use hashtags and stuff. Mm-hmm. So every video that I post, I use a hashtag at MorganPW, and it will take me to my top videos. Let's see here. One about Chris Harrison suing The Bachelor whenever he got let go. That's a big one. One when Travis Barker flew again with Kourtney Kardashian. That was a big moment. And I actually predicted on their second date that Kourtney and Travis would end up getting engaged and married. So that one is also one of my top viewed videos that I posted about a year ago, long before they were ever very serious.
Okay, so Morgan P. Talks, stellar radio broadcaster, podcaster, TikToker, apparently also a clairvoyant predicting things for the Kardashians and the Barkers. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that are going on right now. You are following The Bachelor. I'm following The Bachelor. We've had so many Ohio people
I
on The Bachelor
know.
lately. It's been so great. I love it. I love getting that hometown connection in there. So what do you think? What do you think about the state of affairs right now? Just to bring people up to speed, we just had the hometown dates. There are 3 ladies left for Mr. Clayton Echard.
Yeah, I feel like I'm enjoying this season, and I know a lot of people weren't. I mean, always in Bachelor land, I feel like the first couple of weeks are slow, but then once you get to this phase in the game, it's when things start to heat up. And I like all the girls. I loved the final 4. I'm sad to see Serene go because I thought she was really sweet, but I mean, we'll see her on Bachelor in Paradise. I go back and forth with who I want to be the next Bachelorette a lot because I think that our hometown girl, which she's from Florida, but you know, she went to Ohio University, Rachel, I think has it in the bag. I mean, their chemistry is just unmatched in my opinion. But I go back and forth on who I want to be the next Bachelorette because I really love Gabby and I really love Susie. But that's a good sign. You know, when you love the 3 women that are left, that means you have a lot of good options to choose from.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they really did kind of throw us a curveball giving this season to Clayton Echard, which was, you know, strange. A lot of people said we don't know much about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, Rachel Rakia and him. Oh yeah, Bob Catalum over here. They are. It just does seem to be on another level for them. But I got to ask about the villain of the season, Shanae Ankney, who is also from Ohio. She's from Sycamore, Ohio. You know, what do you think? Do you think that we were really getting genuine Shanae? It just seemed so starkly different, her on-camera interviews basis as opposed to like what she was doing in the scenes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel like, you know, when you really just boil it down and shake it all out, I just think she has no self-awareness, you know, and that might be kind of harsh, but I think that she just, you know, kind of flies by the seat of her pants and doesn't really think about the consequences of her actions, doesn't think necessarily about how it makes her look. I remember when she got sent home, she had posted a really long Instagram caption about, you know, if you choose to believe this edited version. And I'm like, Shanae, girlfriend, if the whole house is popping bottles of champagne when you leave, it's not the edit, you know, it's like, what can you do? Obviously, the situation with Elizabeth was like totally uncalled for. There's just been so many mentions of shrimp. If I never have to hear the word again, it will be great. Yeah, but it's like, it's crazy how you go from one season, the beloved Michael A, you know, from Ohio, where he should have been the Bachelor. I mean, let's just throw it out there. But to go from him to our hometown representative in Shanae, just such a stark difference in characters there, but they can't all be Michael A's.
It's true. They cannot all be Michael A's. You know, it's been interesting. I've been kind of going back and forth on this because if I take a look at just what she did in the moments, I'm thinking to myself, well, Shanae came to play. She came to get that man and she's gonna do it. And then I look at what she said in her interviews with the producers and I was just like, I just think she's just saying anything and everything. And I just have to wonder which was the genuine Shanae. Was it the one who was saying kind of just whatever she wanted to say or just kind of justifying whatever she was doing in these interviews? Or was it what we saw in person? Because when I look at it, I'm like, all right, what did she objectively do? Well, she was tacky with some shrimp. She she said she lied to somebody. She threw a trophy. Not a good look. Not a good look there. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm very interested to see the women tell all for sure.
Yes, I am as well. And from the cookie crumbs that I've been picking up from my sources, about 95% of the women tell all is going to be about Shanae.
Very much looking forward to that. Hoping to get her on the podcast. We'll see what happens there. Hoping we can get her side of the story. All right, let's talk about the Kardashians and the Ye, formerly known as Kanye West situation. You had a really interesting take about this video. Bring us up to speed, remind us of the video, and tell us your take on it.
Yeah, so are you referring to the new music video or my video?
Your video about the new music video.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So, you know, he's doing this very public feud with Pete Davidson, his now ex-wife's new boyfriend, which Pete, you know, never really a social media guy. obviously we know him as a comedian. He's on SNL and he's doing a bunch of other projects now. But has anybody ever been in a public feud with Pete Davidson? Like, no, they just haven't until, enter Kanye. So long story short, Kanye came out with this new song with one of Kim's exes. The Game is an ex of Kim Kardashian. And the internet is in a bit of an uproar because in the video, Kanye can be seen kidnapping a claymation, a cartoon version of Pete Davidson, essentially burying him alive. It's not great. Okay. Even like talking about the stuff that he's doing in this music video, I'm uncomfortable doing it. However, I cannot help but to think back on the Taylor Swift era with Kanye West, where, the very initial spark of their feud was when Kanye interrupted her speech. But it didn't end there. It went on for months and months and months, leading up to his Life of Pablo album, specifically the famous song where we all remember the lyric, he made Taylor Swift famous. A lot of stuff went down in between then, with him calling her a snake, the leaked audio of the video call or the phone call, whatever. And it just makes me think that Kanye uses these overtly public feuds to fuel whatever it is that he's working on at the time, because right now alone he's got his new stem player and Donda 2, which is his new album, which you can only listen to on his stem player, which costs I think $200. He's got a new clothing line with Balenciaga and Gap, and he's got a new Netflix documentary that part 3 just dropped today. So it's like they've been split up now for over a year. Like, obviously the judge just declared Kim single this past week, but why now all of a sudden is he going to these extreme lengths to try to win Kim back when, 2 years ago he wanted to move to Wyoming. He was living in a ranch in Wyoming and it was nowhere near Kim Kardashian. So it makes me sad because I don't think that Kanye needs to go to these lengths. I feel like he's talented, he's creative. For lack of a better word, he is a musical genius. So I don't think that he needs to go to these lengths to get publicity and stuff. I mean, I could talk about it all day long, but I just feel like it is a tactic with a little bit of real feud in it. But I don't think that it's 100% like a genuine feud.
Yeah, I saw your take on that and I was like, yeah, this is very convenient for him. And yeah, not a good look with that very aggressive. I mean, you can't it's Pete Davidson depicted in that video. There's just no argument about it. It looks exactly like him. And at the end he's got that reference, everyone lived happily ever after except Skeet scratched out, who, which is his nickname for Pete. But then he says, JK, he's fine at the end. Okay. All right, Yee, we know what you're doing there. So I think very interesting take. It does seem very convenient that he's promoting all of these things right now. But can we just take a moment to celebrate for Kim Kardashian that the woman is now not married anymore and she's got her name back? Just a little bit of sanity for all of the wildness that she's had to deal with.
I know. And it's so interesting too, because it was such a fight. It's been such a fight, especially the last couple of months. But then when it was all said and done, they had their court hearing on Wednesday and it's like, Kanye didn't even show up, not even via video call. So it's like, does he really care? I feel like if he really cared that much as he's portraying, he would at least be on a video call like Kim was. Instead, he was in Miami having dinner with Tristan Thompson. So it's like, once again, it's just the facts do not add up for him to actually care as much as he is portraying, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's certainly not making it easy on her in a lot of ways, by the way. One of the things was they kept having the lawyers had to keep stepping out of the room. A new lawyer, by the way, because he fired his old lawyer a day before the hearing. That's an obvious delay tactic. And then the forms all said Kanye West. Well, he went and legally changed his name to Yee. So all of that had to be switched up. But I have to give props to that judge. Judge Cochran, I believe, was like, go out in the hallway, change the forms, get it back in here. We're circling these wagons. We're getting this done for this woman today. Let's do this. Let's move this thing along.
Yeah, I think everybody's just over the clickbait headlines at this point. Like, let's just wipe our hands and be done with it.
Mm-hmm. They still have some more things to figure out, whatever. But at least she is legally single. And I want to talk about one more interesting video of yours before we let you go here. Speaking of people who are legally single, it was the moment when an announcer referred to Megan Fox as not legally single. Tell us about that video.
Yeah, so we all know MGK, homegrown, reps Cleveland, loves Cleveland. And Megan Fox and MGK were in town for the All-Star game. And they're sitting courtside, as celebrities do. And the announcer comes on and says, Cleveland's own Machine Gun Kelly and his wife, actress Megan Fox. And everyone's like, oh, and even Megan Fox like looks a little surprised. She turns to MGK, she starts laughing, and then she like whispers something to him, but she makes sure to cover her mouth. So, I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me is like, did they get, secretly married? Was it just an accidental slip up? Like, you truly never know what you're going to get when it comes to Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, whether they're, getting engaged under that banyan tree, or they're drinking each other's blood, or, giving rings with thorns in it. You just never know when it comes to them. So I thought it was such a funny moment, even if it's not true, even if it was just an announcer slip up. I just love the tailspin that it sent everybody into, including myself, because I would love for them to be married. I love Megan Fox.
Oh yeah. And I have to say, Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie walked so that MGK and Megan Fox could run, because they are doing some interesting things, and they are living their life. They are living their truths, and I love them for it. And it was great to see them out and about in the Cleveland area, along with all of those stars. I know that was a busy time for you, keeping track of everything that's going on. Before we let you go here, I want to hear more about your new podcast, what you're doing there, and where people can find it.
Yeah. So a podcast is just the weekly compilation of everything that's happened, right? I kind of break it down into 3 different sections. A pop 3, which is the 3 biggest headlines of the week in pop culture. And then I do a deep dive, which is really fun because it's very interactive with my followers on social media. I ask, if there's anything that you want to learn more about, if there's maybe some stuff going on behind the scenes that the pieces of the puzzle aren't exactly putting together for you. Like example, I don't know if you're watching Love is Blind, but there is so much crazy drama going on behind the scenes of maybe couples reconciling, different couples dating other people. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the shovel. I'm going to do the digging. I'm going to find out all the dirt for you guys. So I love that because, like I said, it keeps me connected with my audience. What they want to know is what I end up, looking into for them. And then at the end, we usually, either recap an episode of The Bachelor, or if there is any type of Bravo finale or whatever, but it's subjective. But basically your week in pop culture in 30 minutes, Morgan's Pop Talks.
Morgan's Pop Talks. I love it. That's, I'm assuming, on all podcast platforms. Yes.
Yep.
Great. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for talking with us today. We love it. We love to see our own doing great, continuing to thrive. And thank you so much for being a part of the 3 Things to Know podcast today.
Thank you.
Okay. Subscribed. Morgan's Pop Talks. It is on my list. It's on my rotation. I can't wait to hear weekly recaps of all the celebrity stuff going on, because she really does get into it. I love how she said that she picks up the shovel and does the digging. She is in it, you guys. She is in it for us. And her take on the MGK and Megan Fox thing, it was cute. We got to see that moment. We got to see that moment where Megan Fox was like, oh, I can't believe they said that. It was really cute. Okay. Speaking of Megan Fox and MGK, that brings us to what you need to know in NEO this week, because over NBA All-Star Weekend, where you could spot them, aside from the 27 Club, which is MGK's coffee shop in the Flats. They were at a new place called Lost Social Club. They were spotted there. This is right next door to Barley House on West 6th Street. And what's cool about this place is it's brand new, first of all. We love new. And it's a lounge in the early evening to sort of like almost later evening hours, and then it gets kind of like clubby after that. So it's a lounge from 4 to 10 p.m. and then from 10 p.m. on it's more of a club. And they are open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you want to check that out, you can find them on Instagram, Lost CLE. They have these cool videos of the inside of the space. It's really a really interesting, unique space, something a little different, maybe something we're not necessarily used to seeing here in the Cleveland area, but it looks really, really, really cool. I am personally looking forward to checking it out. I haven't had a chance to get out there yet, but it is on my short list. So basically, this is a checklist for me of what I need to know in NEO. I want to get out there. The reason I like their Instagram too is because we get a little bit of a sense of the scene before we get in there. So again, open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 4 p.m. until late. More of a loungy vibe. They do have food there too. from 4 to 10, and then more of a club situation afterwards. And speaking of that club situation, a good follow this week is DJ EV, and he's an EDM artist and a hybrid DJ. So he sort of blends EDM and hip hop and dance music. You know, his real name is Eric, and for the past, I don't know, almost 20 years, he's been traveling around the globe, perfecting his act as this hybrid DJ. He has recorded with MGK. So we're coming really full circle here with our good follow this week. Back in 2014, he had a song, Good Time, and MGK dropped some lyrics on that. So he has been spinning at Lost Social Club on West 6th Street, and he's been posting about it on his Instagram. So if you want to follow him on Instagram, it's EV, very short and sweet. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's DJ EV. So you can keep up with what he's doing. Again, love to see the hometown guys, the hometown girls, the hometown people doing great things. And by the way, too, you know, taking it back full circle to Lost as well. Lost Social Club comes from, several players here, but one of those players has recently come back from Vegas. So bringing some Vegas-style excitement to Northeast Ohio. So there you go. That's what you need to know. That's your good follow for the week. It was wonderful talking with Morgan. She's so fun. She's so fun, and she's doing the digging on the stuff that we all want to know about. Thanks for listening to the 3 Things to Know podcast this week. I'm so happy that you joined me. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe and leave a rating and review. That way we can connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio. And make sure that you guys tell me what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, the places that you think other people need to know in NEO, and also the people that you love following on social media, so that we can all be more and more and more interconnected. And if you like this podcast, share it with your friends, because sharing is caring, my friends. All right, that's it for this week. I will see you back with more 3 Things to Know next time.
Thanks for listening to 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney from WKYC Studios. Subscribe now to stay in the know.